very, very similar.
How did you do with paying your money in those?
I'm not going to share that. You can look it up if you want, but it was not a great night for the Richmond Spiders. So that was, we played them in the semifinals, and there was a lot of SportsCenter highlights that night. So hopefully we'll do a better job this week.
Does the fact that UMass pushed Michigan last week, does that give your guys a little bit more confidence going in?
I told our guys that our confidence can't be based on what another team did. Our confidence has to be based on what we can do. And people want to say UMass, UMass. I coached in that league for 7 years. And for people who underestimate how good a UMass, a Richmond, a James Madison is, they just need to talk to Virginia Tech and teams like that. It's not an accident that that league has won the national championship, I think 3 or 4 years in a row. That league plays very good football. And UMass is a good team. They've been good for a lot of years. And, if we're comparing scores and comparing leagues and saying they're this level, that isn't, if that's our approach, we're in trouble. Our approach has to be that we're getting prepared, Bowling Green's getting prepared to play Michigan, and what they did against Connecticut, Notre Dame, or UMass means nothing. We need to get ready to play a very good football team in a great environment.
Have you ever asked Brian Wright for a little bit of insight of how Rich Rod runs things in the Michigan program?
Not really. I mean, Brian, to his credit, Brian, and if you spend time with him, he's first class. And, I've certainly asked him from time to time things that, were there better ways that you did this in Michigan with Coach Carr and Coach Rodriguez. And Brian is a very loyal person, and he certainly is playing for Bowling Green and wants Bowling Green. But he is very positive about his experience at Michigan with Coach Carr and with Coach Rodriguez. And, he thinks highly of both those coaches, and has said nothing negative or derogatory about either of them to me. And I just think that represents the type of person he is.
But as far as strategy-wise and stuff like that?
That's the film. That's our job as coaches. And, certainly I've asked him things about the stadium and the noise level and pregame and the wind with special teams and things like that that can help us win. But I don't, no, we don't. I haven't asked him too much. And we have the film. We have every game from last year. There are 3 games this year. We've studied them all off season. We played against a similar defensive structure at Tulsa. That's our job.
Do you even try to coach cliche your team this week and convince them this is just another game when it is a landmark win if you get this done in the big house?
Well, what we tell them is that this is a very, very special opportunity for us. Okay, the opportunity is now to do something very special for our program, for the university, and for themselves. But at the same time, if the approach is any different, then we're either not doing something right those weeks or we're doing something wrong this week. I just believe that it's a 1-week season, and that's why last week I refused to talk about these guys. That you get ready for the game you play, and you do everything you can for that week, and you sell out, and you do everything possible. And if you win it, great, you move on. And if you lose it, you learn from it, you move on. So we didn't change our practice schedule. We didn't change our practice structure. We're not watching more film. We're not watching less film. We do what we do. And we do that as well as we can every single week. And this week should be no different in that regard. Now, if you talk to them, if you think the opportunity to play in front of 110, 113,000 people against a historic program that has more wins than any school in the country, if that doesn't get your juices flowing, then they're playing the wrong sport. But that will take care of itself this week.
Does the timing of the game help, not only coming off your first win, but with the way the defense played last week with all the interception return for touchdowns, blocked field goals and whatnot? Does that help then, say, if this game was a week ago?
Well, in coaching, there's 2 great challenges, I think. Anytime you have a devastating loss, like we did against Troy, that is very tough to come back from. And you've got to get them refocused and have a great practice Tuesday. As equal a great challenge is to come off a big win. When you have a sellout in your first home game, and you come from 28-28 and score 16 points, and you have a great crowd, that was a big emotional win for us. And it's the same challenge. It's staying steady in the boat. And that, I think, is a challenge with this year's team more so than last year's team, because last year's team was older and more experienced. And I thought they didn't get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. We've got a lot of new players this year. And they've got to learn to gear up every single week and take the same approach and the same hard hat work ethic and attack this game like they did last week, regardless of whether we won or lost. And we'll find out. Quite honestly, I was a little bit disappointed with yesterday's practice. I don't think we practiced as well yesterday with the focus that we need to win a game like this. And it needs to get better today. So you win and you think everything's rosy and things are going to get better. It doesn't work that way. You know, sometimes it's as tough to get them down from the high as it is to get them up from the low.
Maybe a young team, but the guys that didn't play at Missouri last year, did they take anything from that? It was kind of bigger than.
We talked about the Missouri game, that last year I don't know if our guys truly believed they could win that game. And then we didn't play well early. You know, we really missed some great opportunities early in the Missouri game that maybe if we had capitalized on, instead of having a 14-point lead late in the third quarter, maybe it's a 21-point lead. And we need to start well. We need to play well, and you know, we need to prepare. As this is going to be a 4-quarter game, and every play we make in the first quarter is going to be as critical to the outcome as the fourth quarter. And we talked about Missouri, about if we had made some more plays earlier in that game, and then we found ourselves in a position late in the game that nobody thought we'd be in. And we didn't necessarily lose that game just because of the fourth quarter. We lost that game because of some of the things we didn't do in the first quarter.
Going back to the, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Going back to the quarterback decision, is that something that maybe you'll just practice the whole week and then sleep on Friday night, or talk to your staff Friday night?
I don't know if it's fair to the quarterbacks to tell them Friday night. But I've always said you don't make a decision just for the convenience of having a decision made. You know, we let them practice yesterday, we'll let them practice today, we'll let them practice tomorrow. We'll evaluate all 3 practices and we'll come up with a decision. And if it's clear by tomorrow, we'll make a decision tomorrow. But if it's not, we're not in a rush to make a bad decision.
You mentioned the team got a boost from the big crowd. Is it sort of an opposite effect when you go into Michigan Stadium like that with all the...
No, our guys get excited playing any type of big crowd. Now, I can't tell you the 110 at Michigan means more than the 20 here. You know, when there's 20 here and they've got those orange noisemakers and they're wearing orange and you know they're for you, that is a huge, huge positive. But our guys are very excited about the challenge and the, you know, how many people in life ever get to perform live in front of 110,000 people? And our guys get that opportunity. This will be the only opportunity in their life they ever get that. We don't play Michigan again. It's the largest stadium in the country. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that if they're not excited about it and they're not ready to take advantage of the opportunity they have, I mean, you can't, you know, it's almost, if you're not excited by this opportunity, nothing's going to wake them up.